So for those of you that don't know or haven't met, I'm Wynn Matthews. I'm the president of the Guild. And so I run the meeting.
So Wynn, thanks for that great segue into tonight's program. Can I ask everybody to accept the presenter to mute yourselves, please? First, I want to introduce to the Guild one of our very new members, Yvonne Cavanaugh. As she said earlier during the pre-meeting, she lives up in Bakersfield, so she's a little distant away from us, but she did this search of where clay clubs were in California, and we were the closest to her. So I'm excited. When I saw her team service form come through, I thought this is the great person that I need to ask to be a member of the Guild's program team. So not only is she a new Guild member, but she's a new Guild member on the program team. She has put together tonight's program. So what I'm going to do now is turn it over to her. So Yvonne, it's yours.
Hi, everybody. So I'm feeling nervous because I don't know you all yet, but I'm way over in Bakersfield and I teach high school full-time ceramics, and I have for 20 years been teaching high school. I also teach adjunct at Bakersfield College ceramics as well, but I'm like the only ceramic person here. There's like me and 2 other teachers. So this is it. So I sought you guys out. So I'm looking forward to doing more with all of you and being a part of your group. And I'm also really excited to seek out presenters for you because that's something I like to do on my own for my students and for conferences that I've been in charge of in the past. And with that, Foz had told me you were looking for someone who could speak to the group about selling and marketing. And so I just happened upon Sharon because I was looking for myself for workshops to either teach at or attend, because I like to do both. And I found that she was doing a workshop at a place called Still Life Ceramics that I have not been to before, but I'd like to go. It's a place in Los Angeles, and she taught it, I think, just a few weeks ago. And it was her more extensive workshop about 101 marketing and sales, I think. She can correct me on the title of that. But anyways, I read what she was going to do there, and I thought, oh my gosh, if she could just speak to this a little bit to our group and get us more excited about learning from her, I think we would all benefit. And so what I learned was she's an LA-based potter. She's a big foodie. She's been doing this for 15 years. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. She makes her work under the brand Man Handmade, everyday dishes for extraordinary people. And again, she consults artists on marketing and selling, in addition to doing more extensive workshops. And she's obviously going to tell us a lot more about what she does. And so I'm really happy to have her share with us. And so I'm going to let her take it away now, and I'm going to mute myself. So thank you, Sharon, for being here.
Thank you guys very much for having me. Can everyone hear me okay? Great. Okay. I'm kind of new to the Zoom world like everybody else, so let's hope this goes okay. As Yvonne said, I've been in business for 15 years. I've been making pottery for about 30 years. So, and like probably all of you, you didn't start out wanting to sell your work. You know, one fine day, somebody walked up to you and said, hey, I think you can sell this. Or someone walked up and said, how much is that one? And that's kind of how I got started too. So I kind of didn't begin with the end in mind. It kind of happened to me. And, but I did have a marketing background in my day job and in my day career. So I was able to wrap a lot of what I learned about marketing other products into marketing my ceramics. So I'm going to try to switch over to a PowerPoint here. Let's see how this is going to work. You guys just hang on, be patient with me a minute. I'm going to share my screen.
We can be patient. I'm flashing back to teaching on Zoom last year.
Okay, now does everyone see my screen? Is that a thumbs up? Yes?
Yes,
okay.
You just need to put it in the slideshow format.
Okay, great. Okay, so as Yvonne said, this is a very short version of a much longer workshop on Marketing 101 for Potters. I call it Getting Out There. It's kind of like my personal motto. my personal motto is just get out there. Just as the gentleman said, when at first you're nervous, you think people are going to think you're stupid or whatever, or you don't know what to say. But what I found was that if you just get out there, it's so much fun and people are so friendly, and you're marketing something that you're very close to. It's not like when I worked in product marketing for Honda and I was marketing, Honda Accords, which I had nothing to do with. I mean, this is something that I started, something that I did. So marketing your own work is a lot different. And you guys can unmute yourselves. Please jump in with any questions. It's fine. I can field questions. And at the end, I'll probably, stop and say, okay, any questions? All right. So I'm just going to go ahead. This presentation here, Man Handmade, is my company. My slogan is that I make everyday dishes for extraordinary people. So just a little bit about me, just to kind of show you what my credibility is really. I've been selling my work for 15 years. I sell in retail stores. I'm currently in 4 stores and I'm interviewing for a 5th store next weekend. I've done many, many art fairs, a lot of juried events all over Southern California and other cities. My work has been featured in the LA Times gift guide for a couple of years, LAS gift guide, Pasadena Star News, and Dwell on Design, and other articles over the years I could remember. I'm also a teaching artist. I teach at I taught at Sim Clay Center, which is now GMB Clay House, Echo Art Center, Still Life Studios, Pottery Studio. I've done this lecture many times in different places, including Glendale College, Cal State Northridge, Altadena Library, and now Ventura Potter's Guild. So just a little bit about me. One thing about marketing, I think that if you are marketing to someone, the very first thing you want to do is establish some credibility. You want to let them know who they're talking to and what your credibility is about. Even if you don't have a long list of accolades or things that you've done like this, just show your passion. Hey, I've been doing this for a while and I'm really excited about it. That's just as good as the slogan list. Okay, now I just want to talk a little bit, in my workshops, I normally say, okay, everybody who wants to make money as a potter, raise their hand. Everybody raises their hand. Then I say, does anyone know anybody who's a rich potter, who's made a lot of money as a potter? All the hands go down. But anyway, this is how I'm able to make my living as a potter. Last year, as a result of the pandemic, I quit my day job. I said, I really refocused on who I am and what I want to do. I had saved up some money and I just took a leap and said, okay, I'm going to stop working full-time, start doing this full-time and make my living as a potter. So this is kind of in order of my profitability. The first thing that I do that is the most profitable is that I wholesale direct to retailers. So currently, like I said, I'm in 4 different stores and I sell my work to them and they sell them to other people. The person in the picture here is the owner of Cattywampus Crafts, which is now closed. You guys probably familiar with Cattywampus. It was up in Ojai, and I did great business there. The second highest way I make money is direct buyer sales from home. So I post everything I make on Instagram and people just reach out to me. Whenever someone says, oh, I like this, or they say a comment, I'll go back in and say, it's available. Are you interested? And then that sometimes creates a sale. Sometimes it doesn't, but most of the times it does. I do studio events and art fairs like the ones that you guys are talking about. The 3 studios that I'm associated with now, 4 really. I do all their events if I can. And then I do other art fairs that come up. I'm a teacher. I teach intermediates only, and I'll explain why I only do that. I'm a lecturer, so I'm making money today and in my other lectures. And I do consignment sales to retailers. So some retailers don't want to take a chance on inventory. So I give them a bunch of pots, and then as they sell them off, they pay me half. I also do private consulting. As you all probably know, handmade stuff is on fire right now. And a lot of people are buying wheels at home, buying kilns at home. And I'm able to find clients that I go to their house and coach them on making, marketing, firing, all those different things. I also sell and lend work to set designers, people that are making commercials or print ads, TV shows, movies, all those things. I've kind of developed a little bit of a following with the set designers in LA. And then finally, the lowest way I make money is by selling to restaurants. So as you know, if you've ever sold to restaurants, they're the cheapest customers ever, but they want the best work. So this next part is really kind of my personal philosophy on how to get there. And this comes from years and years of trial and error, not just in selling ceramics, but in selling other things, other products that I've marketed. And I got this first bullet from Soichiro Honda, who I worked at American Honda for 9 years. And he felt like the very first thing you need to be is best. Your work needs to be 100% the best. And that's as defined by you, your peers, whoever, but someone needs to think that your work is the best, especially you, before you move ahead. Soliciting and incorporating critique is something that because I've worked in advertising, I've learned to take shots from people about how good my work is. And I've learned to take the emotion out and just listen to what the people have to say. And I think I've really developed my aesthetic over the years by asking people what they think, thinking about what they said, and incorporating their critique. And it's really easy to find people who give you excellent critique because they're the people that are your peers, your excellent makers, and if you say, hey, look, what do you really think of this? How do you think this could be different or how I could improve it? People will give you such valuable information. Another thing is do work that you believe in. I had the experience of going to grad school at Cal State Northridge for a couple of years. And I found that they weren't accepting the work that I was doing. They didn't think that what I was doing was art. In fact, they called it low art. And my work was really confusing to the art faculty because it didn't mean anything to them. And for me, it meant, something to put mashed potatoes in. I mean, it didn't have, this profound meaning that they were trying to help me get to. So I found out that the best thing to do with that was to leave. That my experience in grad school was kind of traumatic and a setback. And I had to say to myself, hey, look, do I want to keep being here in a place with people who don't believe in what I'm doing? Or do I want to take a step back and continue to doing what I believe in that I know works for me? So I quit school. Take baby steps, things like doing the guild's sales, which are no-brainers, just like Wynn was saying. It's like they do everything for you. They do the money for you. They do the marketing for you. They do help you with the setup. They're there to keep you company during the day, hold your hand, total baby steps and completely easy and a very comfortable, no risk way to get started. And then, once you're comfortable with the baby steps, make the bold leaps, go up to those retailers and those high-end stores and say, hey, I'm Sharon. I've got something that I think you might want to take a look at. Learn from your wins and losses, retool, reboot, try it again. Any questions, anybody so far? Okay, you all are really quiet. I can't tell how you feel, but I'm just going to keep going.
You said that second ways you make money is selling yourself by yourself. Do you ship?
Yes, I do ship. I don't like to ship. Fortunately, I live in Los Angeles, and Los Angeles is big enough. I really don't need a national audience, but I do ship. And the way I ship is double boxing. I have found that some people are willing to pay for the shipping and they don't mind. Right. But my profit margin is so narrow that me taking out, 2 or 3 hours to ship a box and send it out and all that kind of stuff is kind of taking me out of my game. Right. So I do focus on LA. But people do pay for shipped stuff. I've had boutiques in New York ask for things. I have some celebrity clients that I'll ship them anything they want. But one problem that I have with shipping is, like, for example, if you give it to UPS or one of those shippers and they take it and ship it for you and it's insured and all that stuff, if they break it, they'll pay you back for it, but it's gone. Right. And whoever was looking for it now doesn't have it. And right. Then they need you to make it again. So now you're back doing the same thing again. It's not worth whatever the insurance was. So I do avoid shipping if I can. I do ship, small things, mugs, small bowls and stuff like that, because they're really low risk. But, an entire set, no, I try to avoid that.
Right. I also see like a lot of these people on Instagram doing the drops, and they say, hey, I'm at, 5 p.m. I'm going to drop, 15 things, first come, first serve. And it's kind of like they put a price and people like say, I want it, and then they get it. Are you doing that?
No, and I'm going to show you in a couple of slides the reason I don't. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for asking. And anybody, please chime in with any questions. Making the decision to start selling, I think when I first decided to make something to sell it, those were the first things that I sold. In fact, the very first thing I sold was something I sat down and said, I'm going to make something to sell it. My teacher in the community college that I was at invited me to be the sale, and I had never sold anything before. And so I went to my will and I said, I'm going to make something to sell. And ironically, it was the very first thing I sold. So that was just a lesson in intention for me. Making the decision to sell something is different from making the decision to make something for yourself or for someone who's not buying it. I found that it really refined my work. It really informed my practice and made my work 100% better, because I knew I was making it for someone to lay down their hard-earned money for. So as I said before, most of us start selling because someone has given us the push. Someone has said, I think you can sell this, or I think that, your work is really good. I think you should be in stores or boutiques. And what I'm advising is take the push. If someone is saying that, they mean it. Nobody's just making that up. So go ahead and take that push. Secondly, identify who your crew is. Who are the people that are going to be impacted by this sales operation that you have, and how can you enroll them in helping you out? So this is a picture of my family. My daughter's in the middle. She's been my biggest supporter, just always, critiquing my work, picking up stuff. This is too heavy. This is the wrong color. I mean, she's been very, very supportive and very candid. My cousin up in the corner, I did the Mill Valley Fall Arts Festival one year, and it was pouring down rain. And she came out in the pouring down rain, helped me set up, helped me sell all day. I made a shit ton of money still, even in the rain. My sister is on the bottom. She's always bragging about me to her friends. My brother-in-law on the bottom right, he has, a huge set of my mugs, which he waves around to all his friends. I mean, it's just these people around me that really bolster my courage and my ego. One person that is not here is my mother. My mother never really believed in this. She's like, why are you making these bowls? Why don't you just buy some? She didn't believe in handmade. She was a Southern girl. Grew up poor, and the only reason that you would want something handmade is because you couldn't afford to go buy it. So she just didn't understand it, and she wasn't supportive. So I had to learn that she wasn't a part of my crew. And I'm sure you all have someone in your life that's really not a part of your crew, and you have to figure out a way to kind of silence that noise. So, what support can you get from your family, your community, your network? People say, hey, send me a link and I'll put it on my website. Let them do it, and then beyond that, just relax. You got this. Making pottery is just so satisfying, The work we make is so beautiful. And, if you're on this call today, you got this. You could do this. Any questions?
No, but your family is beautiful.
Thank you. Very cute. Okay. Sorry about all that noise. There's a motorcycle outside. Anyway, I think one thing that's important if you're going to be a person that's marketing is to develop a brand concept, especially if you're going to be marketing your work to somebody who else is going to be marketing it to somebody else. In other words, if they're going to have to deliver the message for you, it's a good idea for you to have a concept of what your message is. So identify what is the big idea. For my work, the big idea is that I'm making dinnerware for people who have extraordinary lifestyles, people who really want beautiful things in their life, who want to put beautiful food in beautiful dishes. I know my competition and how I'm different. And just like the gentleman said, what about those people who are doing the flash sales and all that? A lot of them are my competitors. So that's one reason I don't do it, because I want to distinguish myself from those people. Find a way to deliver your brand messaging. I mean, when I first started doing this, this was before Instagram and before Facebook and all that. And, you know, I was having to send out postcards and, you know, send people letters and send people emails. It's so much easier now to develop a brand and just put it up on Instagram, do the hashtagging and get a following. Be searchable. I think it's important that your brand identity is something that's distinctive enough that someone who goes on a search engine will find you. Man, handmade, you know, all you have to do is Google that and you'll get tons of coverage on me. Sharon Mann ceramic, Sharon Mann pottery, all that, you're going to find me. But if your name is, you know, John Jones, you know, it's going to be a little more difficult. You may have to find some type of ID that makes you a little bit more distinguishable. Also, I found kitschy names like things that involve mud or dirt or, you know, those things that are kind of easy to think up, you know, will have you confused with other makers. So I would take the time and really, you know, if you do develop a brand concept, Google it first and see if somebody else thought of it already, because that can happen. And just make sure it's very, very distinctive. Social media is a no-brainer. If you're going to be in marketing, you have to have an Instagram presence. Most of the people that that I sell to or that are interested in being involved with me in my marketing, one of the first things they ask is, what's your Instagram handle? So it's the price of entry. If you're not a social media person, you know, let your kid do it for you, let your nephew do it for you, but you have to be on Instagram. Also, professional photos. You really do need 10 to 12 professional photos of your work. It doesn't have to be current work. I've been using the same 10 or 12 professional photos for the past 15 years. I sold that work hundreds of years ago, but they're great photos. The photos are only of the work. There's no stuff in the background. There's no trees. There's no flowers in the vases, just purely the work, professionally done. And there are some professional product photographers that do an excellent job, and it's not expensive at all. In fact, I got my professional photos for $200 and 4 mugs. Okay, competition. This woman here, her name is Becky Chernoff. She's not just my competitor, but she's a good friend of mine. She does those flash sales that the gentleman was talking about. If you look in the background, her work is very uniform, very predictable. She does a 6-inch bowl, a 12-inch plate, you know, and all that. She has a very distinctive line. So for me to distinguish myself against her, you know, my brand message is that my work is never duplicated. There's never any flash sales. It's very special. It's not precious. It's for use every day, but it's complete opposite of what Becky does. And I do respect her a lot. And she does what she does against me as competition. And then another thing, you know, depending on what it is you make, you want to know who your audience is, you know, who's your target demographic. This gentleman here is an actor who found me on some gift website, and he just moved to LA. He's building a household. He wants, you know, unique and extraordinary things in his home. And so he came and he sat with me and he bought this purple bowl set. So, you know, my customer is somebody who has a little bit of money, that is building a household. I found that my customers are usually between 30 and 45 years old. Anything, you know, older than, yeah, I do have customers that are older than that, but for what I make, since I make dinnerware, most of the time when you're in your 50s, 60s or whatever, you got enough dinnerware already. So I'm not going to make big sales to them. Folks that are much younger, sometimes they don't have the space for my work or they don't have the money. So I kind of target that 30 to 45 range with the work that I make. How much are they paying for similar work? You know, that's easy to find out. All you have to do is ask your peers. And also, is your work competing with non-ceramic products? Like, for example, people that make kitschy items or make vases that are competing with glass, or they make jewelry that's competing with metal. Just understand what those other products are, what the pricing is for those, and how your work competes and what your audience is. So all that brings me to my brand identity. Man Handmade, everyday dishes for extraordinary people. When I first started out, my brand was SMG dinnerware, forever unique on your table. And I realized that everybody is saying that their work is unique, and everybody's work is unique. What's different about my work is really not that it's unique. It's the person that's buying it. It's a very distinctive person who wants to have this kind of stuff in their life, and that they're willing to spend, $50 on a plate from me, rather than buying the same, functionally the same thing from Crate and Barrel for 10. So it's something about them that makes them special. It's really, who they are. So I wanted to put that in my brand messaging. So never duplicated is really important to me, that once you buy something from me, there is no other one. Nobody else has it. It's forever, only yours. I emphasize that it's dishwasher, microwave, and oven safe. That it's for everyday use. You can bang it around in the dishwasher, in the cabinets. It's something that you can use every day. In fact, if I go to someone's house and my work is sitting up on some display shelf, I take it down and put it in the cabinet because it's for every day. I emphasize that I'm local Los Angeles, because Los Angeles is a big enough market. If somebody wants something and they're within, a half-hour drive from me, I'll drive it over to them. Also, that my work is for an American diet. A lot of my competitors are people that make things for Asian diets, and they're a lot smaller. So I do kind of emphasize that my stuff is larger, it's for a heartier appetite, for more of an American diet. Okay. Another thing you want to think about if you're marketing your work is to carefully document and control your expenses. How much are you spending to produce your work? I do know a lot of makers that just sit and make these painstakingly laborious pieces that take hours and hours. And, then they have to think about, okay, what am I going to sell this for? Is it and unfortunately, the customers don't care how long it took you to make it. They care whether or not they think it's beautiful. So something can take, 10 minutes to make, and something can take 10 hours to make and have the same value to a customer. So, my advice is that if you are making things that take a lot of time and a lot of labor and effort, think about how you can control your production better. Think about how you can make multiples and do that one process that takes forever all at the same time. Or, think about how you may shorten some of your processes. I make these hand-built mugs that have these stamping on them and flowers and all kinds of stuff like that. And I made some, and they each had a different underglaze color on each one of the 8 flowers. And then there was iron oxide and all these other steps. It was taking me hours and hours to make these cups. And I sold them for good money. But the next run I made, I didn't paint the flowers at all. I just put the oxide on, dunked it in clear. And I found that I got the same price. So just want to put it on your mind. Think about your processes. Are they worth it? Of course, you want to make your work as beautiful as possible. But in terms of marketing it, are the steps you're taking worth it? Also, a lot of potters, especially new in this, will run out and buy a kiln because they want to control production. And I would advise you to wait. Wait and see if you're going to actually need a kiln, if your access to other kilns is going to do you well enough, because you may not have the time, money, or capacity for firing your own work. It creates another job, and if you're not very good at it, you can ruin a lot of work. So I do advise people to wait. Like I said, I've been doing this for 30 years. I don't have a kiln. I don't want one. I'm able to use studio kilns and be a studio member at 3 different places, and I get my work through that way. And then another thing too that I've seen a lot of people do is, once they start to make a lot of stuff, and it's happened to me too, I realize that I can sell out. I can sell every single thing I make. So sometimes you mistakenly think, well, maybe if I make triple the amount of work, then I can make triple the amount of sales. And you really can. But I found that my arthritis kicks in, my back starts to hurt, all these different things. So I've realized that I can really only throw about 3 hours a day. And so taking orders, for example, for work I haven't made yet, doesn't work for me. So I think if you're going to really focus on making work, really think about how much you can actually do, how much you can physically manage, and if you can really produce as much as you think you can. Pricing. Everybody asks me about pricing. How do you figure out what price? How do you decide what price? If you're just starting out, sort of Mother Sharon's advice is price it as low as you can stand it. Try to do everything but give it away, because you get so much more information that way. If you price something high, somebody comes up to it, they pick it up, they take a look at it, and then they put it back down and they walk away, and you don't have any information. You don't know if they didn't like the item, or you don't know if they didn't like the price. You don't know anything really. If you price it low and they go, oh, sure, I'll take this, then it's good work at least. And then you can start to inch your prices up from there. But, pricing is relatively simple. You want to price your stuff with similar items of similar quality sold in similar channels. So there's, for example, a bowl that I sell, this bowl, I sell that for anywhere from $60 to $35, depending on where I am. So if I'm selling it wholesale to somebody who's going to retail it, I sell it to them for $60 and they turn around and market to $120. If I'm selling it at a sale here at my home, it's going to be anywhere from $60 to $35, depending on who's buying it and how much other stuff they're buying. So places to get started, just as your president has said, the studio event is a perfect place to get your toes in the water. Everything's done for you. There's no risk. You get to learn from people who do it well, and you can also adjust your prices on the fly. That's why I like art fairs and studio events. If your prices are too high or too low, you can change them right then and there. Your home studio is another kind of baby step. Once you've done a couple of events, invite everybody to your home for an open house. I'm going to do that for Mother's Day. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see an invite for people to come and shop for their moms. So I'll have food, I'll have booze, I'll have music, and it's just a nice open studio event. It's really a lot of fun. I don't have to pack up anything. I don't have to have a canopy. I just open the door and people come in. The online platforms like Etsy and Shopify and all those, I find that, back in the day when you couldn't do your own cash handling, when there wasn't Venmo and all these easy ways to get cash, Etsy and all those guys made a lot of sense. But now I really don't need, to use an online platform, because I got to send somebody to the online platform. I can send them to me now. I mean, people say, oh, how can I find this? How can I buy this? I say, hey, I'll bring it to your house. You can buy it today. So I don't have to say, oh, go to my Etsy shop and buy it. But for people who are a little bit more shy and not as outgoing as I am, having an Etsy shop is easy. They take, anywhere from 7 to 10% of your money. But if you want to have that middleman, there's a lot of, opportunity for you to sell that way. And then on to the more bolder leaps like retail stores. It does take a little bit of chutzpah to walk up to somebody and say, hi, my name is Sharon. I make this stuff and I think you can sell it in your store. But, after you've done some studio events, art fairs and stuff like that and develop some confidence, go for it. There aren't any rules with retail stores. There's no standard way to do it. There's no standard commissions. It's completely up to the retailer. One issue with retail stores, though, is that they're the boss, not you. So whatever they decide to do with your work, once you sell it to them, it's done. It's not up to you anymore. So it does kind of depersonalize things a little bit. But for me, I make the most money that way. And then finally, I think the boldest leap is galleries. I've never been able to sell a significant amount of work in a gallery. The work that I make just doesn't lend itself to that. But, those of you that make more structural things and more decorative things or more artistic things, approaching galleries, I think is a bold leap that you probably need to take, because people that buy that stuff want to see that it has been in galleries.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Please.
So when you're going to a retail store, do you contact them via phone or email prior to going to the store? Or do you literally walk in the store with your pots in hand and say, here I am?
Well, the first time I did that, I walked into the store, I saw some pots in there and I said, hey, I make pots. Are you interested in any pottery? The lady goes, sure, why not? And I said, well, I happen to have some in the car. And she said, okay. Mm-hmm. That's how I got my first retail store. But it's all of the above. I mean, what I do is if it's a store that I like, first of all, I kind of stake out the store. You know, I take a look at the store and see if they have the kind of stuff that I want to sell and if it's near the price that I want to sell it at. Then I kind of like sidle up to the lady at the counter and say, hey, you know, are you guys looking for any new makers? Usually at that point, they'll say, sure, send me some images, or they'll say, yes, call back at this time, or what's your Instagram or something. Most of the time they don't say no, because I've already kind of staked it out and it's kind of the kind of place where I'd like to be. One of the retailers I'm working with now, she gave me some advice for this workshop. She said, it's important if you're going to walk into a store and try to engage somebody that you stand back in the background, because as their customers are coming in and out, they want to focus on their customers. So you may have to be there for a while to get time with them, but be sure to step out of their space as soon as the customer arrives. Also, if they tell you to send images, embed the images within your email. Don't put an attachment. So you want to, and she said you want to put the maximum of 2 to 3 images in your email. Choose those wisely. Make sure there's something that you think the store might be interested in, and have a price list of what you want to sell it for. She said she doesn't want people to come in and sit there and negotiate with them on, you know, for an hour on what she should charge. You should have clear in your mind how much you're going to charge her. Also be open to consignments. A lot of people don't want to leave their stuff and not get any money. But for me, consignments are almost like storage. You know, I take the goofiest, wildest stuff to this one store called Gibson on Melrose in LA. And it just sits there. And, you know, these checks trickle in. I got one today for $30, but it's stuff I probably wouldn't sell anywhere else. And, you know, why have it in the cabinets or in the garage when I can have it in their store?
Great, thank you.
Any other questions about these things?
I do have another one. Do you
ahead.
find that they're asking for a website too, or mostly just Instagram, or does it even matter?
They just want an online presence. Everybody's asking for Instagram now. One reason they're asking for Instagram is because they want to see how you're marketing yourself. Are you going to be actually sending people into their store or not? So I have a website. I just have a GoDaddy website. I think it costs me $14 a year. It's just one homepage. It's not interactive. There's no depth to it. It just tells people who I am and how to contact me. I use the same, I'm glad you brought that up. I use the same handle for my Instagram, my website, and my email. So it's manhandmade@gmail, manhandmade.com, manhandmade for Instagram. So, you know, either way, you're going to find me. But I think these days, Instagram is what everyone's looking for, especially retailers.
Excellent. Oh, that's huge. Thank you.
Okay. And then about another question?
Yeah, do you find that like the amount of followers you have has any relevance on how much you sell, or does it matter to try to get a lot of people following you?
Well, I mean, for me, I have on Instagram, I think I have about 900 followers. And, you know, I might personally know 20 of them. I think I could have tons more followers, but then I'd have tons more. I mean, I'm sold out, so I'm good. I think if I were to start hashtagging and all that, I would get thousands more followers, but I'm good. I think, I don't know. It's a good question. I think I'm good. But I am saying though that LA is big enough for me. I don't need to be national. I don't make that volume of work. So the followers I have are good. I mean, I get 2 to 3 new followers every other day, and they're coming from all kinds of places. So, you know.
What is, you use some terms, I'm not familiar with computers very much, so that you use some terms I don't understand. When you're talking about this marketing with computers. So I'm a little lost with some of the things you're talking about.
Okay, well, like I said, this is really a shortened version of a bigger workshop. I do consult with people on helping them develop their computer presence, but you know, that would be, you know, a lot more than we would do here.
Right.
But you know, I could turn you on to people that can help you with that, or I could consult with you myself. My consulting fee is $100 for 90-minute sessions. So that way, we would just go deep on that and get you up and running.
I see.
And, again, I make money all kinds of ways as a potter, and that's one of the ways I do it. Okay.
Okay.
So I just want to talk a little bit about cash handling. It used to be that you'd have to go through some third party or whatever to take credit cards. Now you can clip this little thing on your phone and swipe the card. They charge you 2 to 3% to put the money into your account from the credit card person that's buying it. It's very, very simple. So the point of this slide really isn't to explain these different things, but just to tell you that they're out there and they're easy. It's a lot easier to get the money. So of all of the things you can worry about with marketing, this shouldn't be it. I mean, cash handling used to be the hardest part of this. Now it's probably the easiest part. So even if you don't know how to do it, just put a pin in that and realize that somebody can walk you through it. It's not that hard. Okay.
But what is a hashtag? What is a hashtag?
A hashtag is a way for you to identify yourself in other places. So it's basically if you put a picture on Instagram and you add hashtag pottery, there's a page someplace in Instagram where everybody who has put hashtag pottery, their picture will show up on that page. So it takes you over to another place where everybody else who has used that hashtag will be at. It's not something that I could really explain to you in this type of forum. We need to sit together and I'd show you.
Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. Cash, of course, is king. And then billing and invoicing, I have a standard invoice form. If somebody, wants to buy from me and they need an invoice, I just kind of type one up. And I could show you that. Okay. Another thing that's a big kind of giant leap for people in business is to get legitimate. That is to become a real legitimate business in terms of the IRS and the state. There's a lot of really great reasons to do this. First of all, in terms of the way the IRS looks at you making money, you're probably losing money like crazy. There's so many things that you can expense that make you actually look on paper like you're losing money. So what that means is you can write down those expenses against your income in other places. For example, if you have a day job and you spend significant time making pottery, you're operating out of your home, you're paying whatever fees you're paying for your firing, your mileage, all these different deductions you can write against your ordinary income. And so I would just advise you that, if you are interested in really turning yourself into a business, that you talk to whoever you use for your taxes and talk about if getting legit will be helpful to you. I would venture to say almost universally, yes, it will. Most cities or municipalities require a business license. I live in a city where the business license is $126 a year. I have a California state seller's permit, which I file annual sales tax. So for the things that I sell directly and I collect the sales tax, I pay the sales tax to the state through an account. Schedule C is the IRS form that you fill out as a small business. And then there are building and zoning permits you may need if you have home equipment, such as a kiln or, significant manufacturing stuff. So these are all things you want to think about. But the first step, I think, is whoever does your taxes, talk to them about whether or not you need to go ahead and declare what you're doing. And as I said, there's so many allowable business expenses, your clay and your supplies, your display. I display everything that I take pictures of on my dining room table. So I'm literally writing off and depreciating my dining room table. Your photography, your membership, your mileage, your event fees, your storage, your home studio space, all of that is deductible. Your computer, your phone, everything is deductible. So when you add up all of those expenses to how much money you actually made, it usually outweighs, and you usually end up with a great big deduction that helps you against your other income. And then another final thing that I would like to advise you guys to do is to document your journey and stay on task. I keep a business journal that just has facts and dates. It just says, you know, today is April 28th. I spoke to the Ventura Potters Guild. For that, they paid me $150. That's all it says. And then I can go back over the years and look and see, you know, what my progress was and what these relationships were. I keep a file of really clean images. This image right here is one of them. I track my journey and I'm very generous with information. Whenever I meet somebody who needs information, I share everything that I know. And, you know, because of that, people share a lot of information with me. Like what I learned today about the Ventura Potters Guild. You know, I think that I'm going to be friends of this organization for many years and that friendship will be invaluable. Okay, that is the end of my short presentation. Like I said, this is from a much, much longer workshop, which includes workbooks and planning and mapping things out. It includes more in-depth conversation about things like pricing and social media and all that kind of stuff. But just, you know, for this space, I just wanted to present this and hopefully tease you guys to want more. But so I'll take any questions now.
I have a question. You do your home sales. Do you have additional insurance because you have other people coming in your house?
No, I have just my regular home insurance. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, but I mean, they're just coming into my house. It's not like they're coming into a dangerous space. So I'm not really worried about that.
Okay.
Some sales do require you to have additional liability insurance. There is an insurance called Art Fair Insurance. It costs like $69 a day, which, you know, you could do a rider on that. So if you are concerned, you know, like, for example, if you have dogs or if you have, you know, a lot of potters, you know, their homes are on these remote areas where somebody could get hurt or something, you know, you may want to look into having, you know, event insurance. But okay. I just have general liability insurance on my home.
Okay, thanks. This is great.
Thank you.
I have a question just about, you know how you just did the larger workshop at Still Life Ceramics. Do you have one coming up anywhere else, or how does that happen? Like, do you just?
Well, I'm out there hustling it.
Yeah.
So I just pitched it to another studio, so I'm waiting to hear back on it.
Oh, good. Yeah.
I also plan to pitch it to Glendale College for next semester. So they've already spent all their lecturer money this year, but I'm going to pitch it for next year.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Sure.
Can you give us some tips on how to interact with potential, you know, people who would take our work and resell it, and also how to interact with our potential buyers? And can you maybe model an interaction with them, with a potential buyer in particular?
Sure. Well, the first thing I do is introduce myself. So when someone walks into my space or I walk into their space, the first thing I say is, hi, my name is Sharon Mann. I'm a studio potter. I've been making dinnerware for 30 years. So that's my opening statement. And especially if you're a little bit more shy or you've never done this before, it's good to have an opening statement that you always use. That way it just rolls right out of your mouth. So I introduce myself here. This is what I am. And then if their eyebrows go up, I say, are you interested in any ceramics? And then it just goes from there.
Okay.
We are fortunately at a place in time right now where the interest in handmade products has never been higher. I think I made more sales during the depth of the pandemic than I ever had, because people are looking to connect with makers, and they're looking for things that have some authenticity. So I think that the selling part is a lot easier now than it was before.
Well, I have a question. What would you say the percentages that you do actually making versus selling?
Probably making 90%, selling 10%. Like I said, with the internet, with Instagram, for example, I'm able to get so much done, it was just a couple of clicks. So, as soon as I make something, I take a picture of it and post it on Instagram. That takes seconds. And I reuse a lot of the pictures that I've used in the past, but my selling is maybe 10% of what I do. if that.
Why is Instagram the best one?
Why?
Mm-hmm.
It's because that's what everyone's using right now. I use Instagram and I also use Facebook because a lot of the older users are still using Facebook primarily. But the stores and the designers and the people that are part of my audience, the younger people in their 30s and 40s, they're all using Instagram.
Yeah. And if you post to Instagram, it automatically posts the Facebook for you too.
Exactly.
Oh, really?
But I use them different. I use Instagram for, my product stuff and it automatically goes to Facebook. But my Facebook, I use like a little bit more lifestyle stuff. I talk about myself and I talk about my daughter. I just recently went on a train trip to Paso Robles and I talked about the wine I drank. I talk about the food I'm cooking, all those things to make me seem or to help people see how interesting I am, give people a little bit more backstory or a little bit, closer to me. It's all still a very thinly disguised promotion for my work.
Do you have,
go ahead.
Do you have separate Facebook for your business versus your own personal, or do you have just one?
Just one. My Facebook is not very, it seems it's not very personal. Like I don't really talk about, very personal things. It's just kind of lifestyle stuff. But, I don't talk about anything that doesn't have to do with me being a potter or a foodie or something. Yeah.
And, you don't spend much time like modifying your pictures or like doing different filters or anything. You just take a picture and put it up. Simple dimple. It's not like
bam. Yeah, I have, like I said, I shoot most of my pictures are shot either on my dining room table, which is the table that's in this picture, or I shoot them right at the studio. So the studio makes a really nice backdrop for the pictures. But over the years, I realized that people just want to see the pot. Having the professional images, I use those because I send them to stores. But for my snapshots, I just put the pot in the middle of the table, take a picture of it and crop it down. But I think the key is to not put anything other than the pot in the picture. Don't have a lot of noise in the background or, don't put flowers in the vase or any of that stuff.
I was just going to say that we have a monthly newsletter, and if you ever want to when you're appearing at other places, if some of these people are interested in attending, you're more than welcome to, give us that information.
Oh, great. That's great. I do. I'm also doing a workshop called Dinnerware, which it's a 4-week workshop on making matching sets for the table. I'm doing that workshop in May and June. And then I have an intensive dinnerware making thing in July. So yeah.
I'd love of interest. And then there's also, I don't know, are you familiar with the Southern California Pottery Guild? They also have the same thing, a newsletter. And I used to.
No, I'm not connected with them. Yeah.
But I'm saying you could promote your business workshops is what I'm saying.
Right. Thank you very much. I will. Thank you.
There's one in San Diego. I used to belong to all of them when I was.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the San Diego one. I think I've met some of their members at, I go to like workshops up at Idlewild and stuff, so I've met a lot of the San Diego Potters Guild and Idlewild. I'm also happy to announce that I just got a scholarship to go to Penland this summer. So I'll be spending 2 weeks in Penland and hoping to, really forge some relationships there. Another thing, I would really encourage you guys to go and do those 2-week workshops at those schools like Penland and Idlewild and Haystack, where you can really get inspired, meet new makers. They're expensive, but there's lots of scholarships out there, especially for people over 50 who are, mid-career artists or emerging artists.
How many pots would you say you make a year?
What's that?
How many pots would you say you make a year?
A year?
Yeah.
Well, I can fill up my dining room table about once a month. And that's going to be, I'm looking at what's on my table now. Look, I'll show you. Can you guys see?
Yep.
Okay. 5, 10, 11. There's about, I guess I make about 40 or 50 pots a month.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I kind of sell off that inventory at stores or individuals or whatever, and I kind of replenish that. So I'm halfway in between this month's inventory. I'm going to get a bunch of pots on Saturday, and that'll be this table. Those will be the ones that I'll be trying to hustle for Mother's Day.
Are you happier doing just pots than the corporate job? Because that's the big thing I'm struggling with.
Oh God, yes. It's, I mean, I like the, having the money, I made a whole lot more money, as a corporate monkey than I do as a potter. But, I'm really finding my true self in making pottery. I'm interacting with people that are happy. It's just light years better. But I do have some things in the hopper, like I've got a house and I have a car. I live with someone who's very supportive financially. So, if I were trying to like quit my day job at 30 and go out and be a professional potter, I think this would be really, really frustrating. So, I would advise do it when you're ready, but don't wait too long. I've seen some people wait too long. They're too old. It's too hard. I'd advise to, do it while you're still young enough to be able to carry it off.
Hi, I had a question. You said a few minutes ago that there are often scholarships for people over 50 at these various conferences or events. Is there a central website or publication or anything you'd recommend that's a good source for finding out about the different workshops and what's available?
Well, I mean, there's a list of major craft schools. I can give you that list. There's Penland, Haystack, Arrowmount, Archie Bray. There's maybe 7 major ones. And
Okay.
I think Yvonne could probably tell you what those are. And just go on their website and they spell out their scholarships. I mean, people are really looking for diversity and inclusion. And one of the areas of diversity they're really looking for is for people over 50. Because we bring so much more to the table, especially for clay. Because, another reason I became a clay artist is that the older you get, the better you are. Unlike some other some other things where the older you get, the worse you are. So yeah, I can probably help you with that. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You mentioned that you don't have a kiln and you have no desire to have one. There's a number of our members who fire at the local colleges and studios and stuff. And could you share with us the logistics of how you manage having your stuff fired out, like that?
Yeah, it's just a lot of running around. I mean, I fire at 3 different studios. I'm a member at 1, and then the other 2 let me fire because I teach there. So I just constantly have work going at all those different places. And I mentioned that I teach, but I don't teach beginners. And the reason I don't teach beginners is because I don't leave with any merchandise. So I only teach intermediates. I only teach dinnerware or glazing or some class where I'm actually making my work in the class. So that's another way. I mean, in terms of marketing, not just thinking about how you're going to make money, but think about how you're going to save money and save expenses. So I save money by teaching, because not only do I get, the 40, 50, 60 bucks an hour to teach the class, but I walk away with inventory.
So is your production done at the studio where it's fired, or is there transportation between your home and the studios?
I do have a wheel at home. And if I'm feeling, like I don't want to leave home, I just want to kick back and listen to jazz and drink some beer, I do throw it home. But it's really hard to transport greenware, as you know. It takes, several boxes. It takes up the whole, backseat of my car to move a few things around. So I try not to do that much. Most of the production I do at home is my hand building, because, I can make it so fast that I move it before it gets dry enough to be fragile. But yeah, I just, I sometimes, because of what I'm making and the different glaze palettes, I'll make something at one studio and then I'll take the bisque to another studio and fire it. So I only fired a cone 10 because I don't want to get confused with, in my old age, I get confused with what I made. So I realized that I need to just stick with cone 10 and not have to worry about it.
I have two questions. One is what type of items do you hand build? Because nothing I see on any of your slides showed any hand building.
I hand build mugs. I do some
Oh, you do?
slab plates and things. If you go to my Instagram, which is Man Handmade, you'll see some hand built things.
Now I found you on Instagram, but I cannot find you on Facebook.
My Facebook is Sharon Mann.
SHARON.
Uh-huh.
I looked and it didn't come up. Man Handmade pushes you to your retail stores. The stores that Lake is somebody that sells your work.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So if you put in Man Handmade, that's what comes up.
Are you Googling it?
No, I'm on Facebook. And I have a bunch of Sharon Manns, but none of them have your face.
Let me see. Yeah, it's on there.
I found you. Looks like that.
Sharon Mann, M-A-N-N is Sharon Mann.
Yeah, I have a lot of them. One's a horse, one's a couple that doesn't look like you, one's in
Okay, well, I'll
Hemet.
send a link to your Yvonne, and then she can share it with you guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's it.
There you are.
That's me.
Oh wait, hold on. I have to unpin you to know.
Yeah, you can see it, right?
But you'll see most of my work on Instagram. You'll see pretty much everything as I do it is posted on Instagram.
I don't see that one. Okay. Okay. I'll look again. Thank you.
Thanks. Anything else? Well, you guys, here's my email address. If you ever want to just chit chat with me, just hit me on, send me an email. If you're interested in some one-on-one coaching or consulting, again, I'm available for hire. I've really enjoyed this opportunity. I'm very flattered to have presented to this group. I learned a lot listening to you guys already. I'm excited about your sale. I hope to come. And it was really great meeting you all.
Thank you so much, Sharon.
Thanks, Sharon.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's great.
Thank you.
Excellent.
This is wonderful.
That was
Thanks
really
a lot. We
interesting.
appreciate it.
Okay, I'm gonna sign out now. So bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, Yvonne. That was an amazing program, and I appreciate the
Yeah.
time and energy you put in, and being your introduction to the Guild. It was a great one. Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm excited.
Yeah,
to hear
thank you.
more. Thank you.
It was great.
Then I think we're finished.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Yvonne. That was
Bye, you're
awesome.
welcome. Nice meeting you guys.